finding fulfillment is a unique journey for all of us. And for me, I've been finding that in changing my character and developing and realizing I can work on myself very hard and spend time in the dark, because I was always running and going and going and going. I didn't have time to sit. And so that's when I was saying, God is like, wake up. I was like, all right, I see you. I get it. Let's look at it.
Welcome back to Create with Kate. I am really excited for the guests that I have in the virtual studio today. I have Nick Nascimento, the founder of Sparta Solar Sales and the host of the Rainmakers podcast. He's also a dad to 3 adorable sons, and he's just an incredible person, and I consider him one of my friends. So welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Kate. It's a pleasure to be here. And so honored and humbled to be with you. You're so fun. Your energy is amazing. And I love your belief. Can I just say I love your belief in people? And like you find that same conviction I talk about, like you find a deeper sense of purpose in helping people, and you can sense it, and you're more focused on like giving versus what you're getting. And it's just beautiful. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. I mean, I love people. I really do. And like,
I know.
Some get me more excited than others, right? If I feel really connected to what you're doing. And I've always felt that with you, because I feel like you just put your heart into everything you do.
Yeah.
Even if you were going at high intensity before, but you still had heart in there. It's not like you were like, that was always there. I think you were just distracted by too much drive.
Absolutely.
Have you been to a Tony Robbins event before?
So no. For how much I've studied him and Jim Rohn, and I have not. But my mentor Chris, he runs an event that's very similar to Tony Robbins' event.
What is his event called?
UPW. Oh, right. No, Chris's is UFD. Sorry, Unleash Your Financial Destiny.
Okay.
And then Tony's is Unleash the Power Within.
Right, and I've heard about that one. I've never been, but so how much is the ticket for Unleash the Power Within?
Base ticket, I think you can get in for $500 to $750.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not much. Yeah.
And then they go up to what?
I mean, front row like 85,000 but that's if
85,000?
Well, that's if you're in the mastermind, so that's how you get front row. But I think up to probably 10,000.
Okay. All right. And so you went because of Chris? Chris inspired you?
Well, Chris did inspire me. No, I went, so I have a coach in Tony Robbins' team. One of them is coaching me, and I just love Tony, and I feel like he's only got a couple more years left, if that, Kate, where he's running events. He literally doesn't have vocal cords. He's talking from some other miracle. So
because it's just it's so much energy.
Yeah. So for anybody that hasn't been to Tony yet, they've only got like another year, maybe 2 is my guess.
So I better hurry up, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
I've never been, and I would love to go.
Yeah, you'd love it.
So tell me, like, why? Is it really different than all the other events? I guess that would be my question. Because
then, like Tony's events, or just other people's events?
Just like his events are like on another level.
They are. Yeah, he's the event master, and he knows how to create and compel energy. And he talks about how, just to get knowledge only helps so far, but creating energy in a room helps you remember and internalize those principles you're learning. So yes, lots of energy.
Because I agree with that completely. It's like, and I think we've talked about this before. It's not even the words that you say. Like, you could say all the right words, but if energetically you're not like in the moment and into whoever you're speaking to, they can feel that.
Yeah, they can.
So how does he teach that?
How does he it's not really he teaches, he does it. There's so much back end work to those events, from the music to the people, the staff there. You can tell they've put a lot of energy and time and thought into creating that experience. You don't expect to dance as much as you do when you go there, but I'm I got really good at dancing.
Are you not a dancer?
No, not at all. So I was out of my element. I was out of my element, but it was good. It was good. I like a
That's the point,
challenge.
right? So that you
Yes.
get uncomfortable and that you get in the right was the like physiology,
State.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about that with you. So he hits on, okay, so biggest takeaways. Can I share them?
Yeah. Please.
It's a toss up between two things, okay, but they're both correlated. Number one is the power of being in peak state, okay? And Tony talks about peak state, like when you're in peak state, everything moves for you. You attract more success in every area of your life. And I can talk to you about the wheel of life that he talks about, and in the six human needs.
Oh. Oh yes. I love the six human needs. Okay,
Okay,
but
yeah,
keep going.
we should hit on that. But the number one thing I got was energy is everything. Okay, and the second biggest takeaway was the secret to living is giving, and that was like I already knew the principle, but it just hit home for me. And with like my mission and my career and my life and my fulfillment, and then for any man or woman listening, especially men out there, they need a very big purpose for what they do, and it's got to be outside of you, you know. And so that was a very big wake up call. But you know, going back to the state, he talks about the state. You know, your energy. You know, energy is everything, and no matter what season of life you're in, you know, he talks about there being, you know, fall. You go into winter, and then there's spring and summer, and everything grows in spring, right? Every business thrives in spring, but winter is difficult. And he said, you know, of economic depressions, 62% of Fortune 1000 companies are merged out of winter, out of economic depression, out of hard economic times. And it's because of the resilience. And he talks about how this transcends business in any area of your life. You know, like I'm going through a winter season myself. And, you know, he talks about the power of showing up and putting yourself in this peak state in winter. He says the number one skill in life is putting yourself in this peak state in those trying
Tough.
times. Yeah. And he says it is like, you know, your life, you aren't living the life you're living the life you focus on. And so it's all about changing your physiology and changing your focus and then changing your language and meaning. That's the triad to how you change your state. So Tony's very big into like moving his body and getting the energy, you know, going. It doesn't matter how good of a mindset you have if your body's moving slow, you're not feeling good, right? And and then the focus was another big takeaway, Kate. I know I'm just rambling a bunch of stuff, but
No, it's
uh,
good.
so changing your physiology, changing your focus to change this peak state. You get in peak state, you get peak performance in life, everything,
Yeah.
okay? Peak state's the energy, like when they get around you, they're just like, I don't know, just something about this guy, just
Yeah.
about this girl that just, I feel compelled. It's because they're in peak state, right? That it
Right.
factor that Tony Robbins has, he's in peak state, always. And it's a choice, you know. Motivation comes and go, discipline's a skill, but this is bigger than discipline, and it's putting yourself in this high vibration, this high, you know, form of frequency. And one of the things for me to shift my focus on was, you know, gratitude. And I know it's so simple, so mundane. It's like, of course, you know, the cliche thing,
Yeah.
but you know, it's so easy for us to just get stuck in these thought patterns of what we don't have or what's going wrong. And you have to actively choose to focus on what is going right. And when you do this, it's like practicing any skill. He says it develops with repetition. The more you practice what you focus on and focus on the good, the more good that will come in your life. You know,
I
he
agree.
interviewed a billionaire, okay, and he said, what is the secret to building wealth? And this guy said gratitude and giving without hesitation. Specifically gratitude and then giving 10%. And I thought that was fascinating. And I've
So
heard
what
stories
did
about,
that say to you? Or how did you, what did it like in your mind? Were you like, I need to do this different?
oh yeah, complete mindset shift, okay? Like we put ourselves in these states and we think it's our environment, we think it's external, but really we're in control, right? And like if somebody says F off, like you can choose to smile. You know,
Right.
you can choose to be happy. And so for me, I've realized, okay, I'm going through a lot in my personal life, I went through a breakup and a lot of personal changes in my life that I'm so proud of now. But it's been hard to focus on what I lost, what I don't have, and how I could have been better. And
Want
that's done good.
to
Go ahead.
touch on that a little bit for
Yeah.
people to get something out of this and to it it be as impactful as it can be? Do you want to kind of walk us through that story of what you were feeling and what happened?
Yeah. Like with the breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's all on me, Kate. Like, there was some limiting beliefs that I had, and I brought these to the event that I've been facing, and a lot of it stems from
What were
childhood.
they?
And what's that?
What were those beliefs?
That I've been in a failed marriage before, and I've made mistakes, and that I would make those same mistakes again.
Mm.
I had fears that you know, um, I had to prove myself, and I was basically seeking forms of validation externally through work and success and business, and through a lot of work I've done. I've realized that, hey, you can give that validation to yourself, and you can still have big goals, but you'll actually achieve them a lot faster. Tony even talks about this. Two individuals who are trying to seek success. One seeking from external validation, the other is getting it internally. He'll achieve
Yeah.
his targets 100 times faster. He said that was mind blowing to me. But from my relationship, Kate, it like one of my fears was, oh, I won't be able to attract a person like this into my life again. It's a limiting belief, and so the big turnaround for me was focusing on, hey, look, there's a lot of beauty. There's always something good to look at, like,
Yes.
and instead of focusing on, hey, what I've lost, I focus on how much I've changed and how much I am changing, and the beauty of that, and who I'll be able to attract, and how much better I'll be on the other side of this.
I know, because from the outside looking in, you had the perfect life.
Yeah,
Even though you'd been divorced and all of that, like
yeah,
you two looked like the perfect couple.
yeah.
So what went wrong?
Me. So,
But what did
and
you do?
Tony talks about this too, where this was one of my big takeaways from my relationship was, it's not relationships aren't about what you get, it's about what you give.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has different needs, and men and women. And for men, a lot of it time is it's physical needs. And the reality of the relationship is it's not about what you're not getting or getting, it's about what you are giving. And the more you focus on that, guess what? The more you will innately get.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a big breakthrough I've had
You
from.
feel like you were being a little selfish? Is that what you're
Oh,
trying to say?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And we had a lot of great things about our relationship, and but it's crazy what you give focus to, grows and amplifies. And if that is a sense of what you don't have, then that'll grow. And so for me, it stemmed from deeper rooted things of validation, from childhood, and but yeah, a lot of that stemmed from just a lack of gratitude. A lot of that led me to making poor decisions.
Yeah, because she was very supportive of you and your
Ex-
goals.
Extremely, extremely.
So maybe, if I'm reading between the lines, was she doing a lot of the giving and you
Oh,
weren't?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So like emotional support was
Yeah.
massive. And this I've learned this too, Kate, where a man needs to live in his masculine and can't go running to a woman to find his power and strength. And a lot of times I was sharing my wins in the relationship, and that's just not that's not how it should be. You've got to find the validation from within and who you're
Mm-hmm.
becoming. And a man needs a greater purpose than even a woman in his life. And when he's compelled by that purpose, that bigger, greater good, and he's good by himself as is, and he's growing and developing, that he's in his masculine, he will attract that woman right into his life.
Right.
And so I think I still had some inner work to do. Even after my divorce, I think I ran to work. I distracted
Yeah.
myself through work, shows,
That's a
games,
great level.
dating too fast, and I needed time to work on heal myself. And so
Mhm.
I've been, it's been a hard 6 months for me, but the reason I'm okay talking about this is because it's been completely transformative. A lot of men, if
That
there's men
sounds like
listening to
she was
this,
a great teacher for you.
say that again.
She was a great teacher for you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, huge, huge blessing. And a lot of men lack, this, a lot of things I'm talking about, I'm sure a lot can relate. But what was I going to say? Oh, I've also learned, the power of vulnerability.
Mm.
And, for me, I was lacking this, and I would, work a lot and then drown myself and not kind of self-isolate. And a lot of guys in today's world do this. It doesn't feel masculine to reach out to men, but really it is. And being vulnerable with men is very masculine. It's very empowering and liberating. And
Yeah.
so I've changed that a lot in my life by being vulnerable, being more real. And, Tony talks about how the truth will set you free. And
Mm.
I've seen that. I've seen a lot of change come from vulnerability, relationships strengthened. And, when you find stronger connections with people like that, you don't seek validation in other ways, you know?
Yeah, and like we all have, like we're all flawed.
Yeah,
So I think that that actually connects you when you're more real than just Mr. Perfect.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you, I think you were working on that. So I think this is kind of an interesting perspective, right? Because again, from the outside looking in, you were into personal development, you were successful, you were growing, and
Yeah,
you had this relationship and you had all these things, and but yet there was still things to work through. And
absolutely.
I don't think it ever stops, right? Like
Yeah,
you're constant, it's a constant practice.
absolutely. And that's for anybody at any point of their life, right? And for me, at the point of my life, some things need to be completely uprooted and kind of turned upside down. And God, through His infinite love and wisdom, basically took my life and just flipped it all upside down. Said, "Nick, wake the f up." And had some very hard times this summer. And I know I'll be so happy and grateful for those in future years because I can see how it's changing me. But yeah, Kate, we had a lot of great things in a relationship. I had a lot of things going for me. But if you're building on a sandy foundation, it will crumble.
Hmm.
And I was building because there
What's
was.
the new foundation? What's the purpose? What is the deeper purpose for Nick?
That's a great question. So it's being at peace. Peace has been a big thing that's been on my mind. Being at peace with myself and trusting God, relinquishing control. As an
Hmm.
entrepreneur, as a really good salespeople, you have a lot of control. Like that's just you become a control freak, and
Yeah.
not in a relationship sense. I'm not talking about that. I was good there, but
Yeah, with work.
in the sense of like trusting things will work out. And there's major character defects that I had that were symptoms. So for me, believe it or not, like anger was one of them, and lack of patience, and
Mm.
those things. Those you can a man's character can be measured by what gets him angry. Basically, I can't remember the exact quote, but your
Yeah.
character is determined by that level. And so not really sitting with it and just running and growing and growing and working, I wasn't able to really uncover deeper rooted things within my journey. And so, just being real vulnerable on this podcast, obviously. So,
Yeah, no,
um,
I love it.
yeah. And
But what
so,
did you discover them? The
what's that?
deeply, did you discover what was deeply rooted?
Yeah, yeah. So, growing up as a kid, there's always a special time. A son has to let go of his, mom, the feminine side, and kind of cling to his dad. And dads need to step up and show him what the masculine is. And there's usually a pivotal time in a kid's life where he'll turn to his dad with a question. And it's a sacred time where he's looking for like validation and love. And Tony talks about this how every person has two fears in their life. There's two primary fears that run our lives, and it's I'm not enough, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not loved.
Yeah.
And for people who grew up with alcoholic parents or abusive parents, it's very obvious that there's a wound there. For people who grew up with great parents like I did, it's hard to discover your wound because it's
Yeah.
very subtle, but everyone has one. And mine came from a time, my dad's an amazing man, but there was this time when I was about 16, 17 years old where I came to him, I was just feeling like I've got a lot of potential. I feel like I'm special, like I'm gonna have a bright future. And I brought this up to him, like, Dad, I just feel like I have a lot of potential. And he meant all the goodness in his heart, but he said, of course you do, son. Everyone does, right? Not wrong, not wrong. But my soul, my heart was clinging, like
You wanted
yearning
him
for.
to say, you're special.
Yes, yes. And that's a special time that everyone's looking for. And, that was that was a pivotal thing for me at the time. I didn't realize how much that would shape a lot of my future, my choices and my actions and desires. But yeah, that was it, Kate. That was a big moment for me. And so I felt like I had to prove myself, you know? And
Yeah.
so, hence has been a big driver for me, I served a 2-year mission and did very well in my mission. And in Brazil, teaching people about Jesus, helping them break free of addictions and turn things over to God and change their lives. And then after my mission, coming back, getting into sales while going to college, I did very well. Like I thrived. And there's always, Tony talks about how, the secret behind successful people isn't knowledge, it's hunger.
Yeah.
My hunger was insatiable because I've been trying to fill this. Now, what happens? Okay, Nick, you give yourself the validation. Now what? Now you're just going to sit on your couch and be late? No, absolutely not. I feel a greater sense of purpose and passion to share and be vulnerable. And I've seen how these things have changed my life. And Kate, it's wild to see, like over the last 6 months, I've made some major changes in my life and business. Things I was scared to do, like relinquish, and delegate and set boundaries on my clock
You
and
were trying
schedule.
to control.
Yeah. So I used to work sun up, sun down. Now I don't go into work till 10 o'clock, working on myself in the morning, journaling, meditating, reading, praying, Bible study, workout. And then, and evening is just time off for myself too, usually after about 7 o'clock. And I stick to those boundaries. And it was scary because we get a lot of appointments that have to be ran for our solar company and, it's been beautiful to see how it's actually worked out for the better. Like if you would ask me 6 months ago, I said, no, this is going to burn everything down to the ground. It's done the opposite.
Because the thought is that you're not working hard enough and you have to prove, like that's in our brain, is like if we work hard, then we're rewarded.
Yes.
But there's different ways that you can work hard.
Yeah. So Tony talks about how the achiever usually has significance, one of the 6 human needs, as number one. And guess what? For me, it was, right? We
That's
just
one of
talked about
mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all have a need for significance, but there's a problem when it becomes number one,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And it will usually affect our relationships in other areas of our life. And so the 6 human needs are certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And for me, it's been a pivotal shift to put number one is growth for me. And then number 2 is love and connection. And then number 3 is contribution. And Tony said if you have those at the top of your list, it's literally impossible for your life to go disarray, right?
Yeah.
And he talks about the difference between success and fulfillment. Success, there's a science behind it. And fulfillment, there's an art, right? And, he told a story about this red painting that's just a red block. And his buddy bought it. He was so excited to show Tony. And he's like, I spent $86 million on this painting, Tony. Then Tony's expecting like some masterpiece,
Yeah.
And it's just this big red square, 86 million, right? Tony's like, I could have done this for you for $1 million, bro.
Yeah.
But that's art. And finding fulfillment is a unique journey for all of us. And for me, I've been finding that in changing, my character and developing and realizing I can work on myself very hard and spend time in the dark because I was always running and going and going and going. I didn't have time to sit, right? And in today's society, you're bumped.
Probably. You don't want to face your feelings.
That's it. Yeah. And so that's when I was saying God is like, wake up. I was like, all right, I see you. I get it. Let's look at it. Let's look at what's under the hood, all those fears, all those scary things, you know. And that's what's changed. That's when things really start to change. And I've recognized this difference in my energy, and there's like this gravitational pull where, you know, I just had a guy the other day just like walk up to me like, dude, I don't know what it is about you. Just like, I'm curious what you guys do.
I
You
know,
know,
isn't that amazing? When
it
that
is.
like, I feel like it's probably happening to you a lot right now
Yeah,
because
it
you're
is.
at that frequency.
It's humbling, and it's so cool because I would have told you like, oh, this is all going to go to shit. like, but I was at a point where I'm like, okay, God, I'm putting you first. I'm putting all this stuff behind,
Yeah.
and I can tell you everything is taking off. And so it's because of the attraction of who you become, and it's the confidence, you know, that you carry when you faced your demons.
Mm.
And yeah,
I can feel your energy is different. I remember, I'll tell you this story about you. When you came to Vegas, and we were upstairs, and I was like, you're gonna go live, right? And I'm thinking, like, my experience of you virtually was just like that was gonna be easy, like no brainer for you. Just like you would be, you're Mr. Competent. Um, but your energy felt different when
yeah,
in person, when in that moment
yeah,
in particular. Like I could tell you were maybe a little bit nervous, but I was like, I don't know why he's nervous. Like he's so good, you know?
yeah.
But and then once you got going, it was good. But I remember feeling like a little bit of anxious energy, and I was like very surprised because I hadn't seen that side of you.
Yeah.
But you seem much more like at ease now. Like you're
Thanks,
just
Kate.
very calm.
Thanks. Yeah, and it's those times where, you know, behind the scenes too, nobody sees that. That's the real important time, you know. And what you do in the dark when nobody's looking, that's the great when the greatest work is done.
Well, I'm excited because, well, I've always thought you were amazing. I've told you that since our first call.
And me to
But
you.
thought you have an incredible story. And I love what you're doing with sales because even, I mean, from the beginning, you were always like sales with integrity
Yeah,
and a real connection. I mean, I think you've always been a connector. You might
yeah,
have just been a little bit maybe blinded in a way by some stuff just because of the drive, but you were
yeah.
still connecting. Now it's probably
Absolutely.
just deeper.
Absolutely. I think the difference now is just authenticity
Hmm.
and more conviction, right? You know,
Yeah.
the things I've been passionate about are they still live inside of me, and that's always been there, and I've always thrived with, you know, those sales techniques, and I've always felt compelled to do it. And I think this is lining up part of a bigger mission for me, you know, but it's in direct alignment to what I've always been wanting. And you know, I've had this. I remind myself of this every day. Kate, I put myself in this state mentally where my company's doing very well. You know, I'm so grateful. We got like about 24 salespeople. We're on pace for right now 18 million. By next year, we could be doing
Wow.
30 million in revenue. I'm very.
Amazing.
It's humbling. It's very cool. But I put myself in this mindset where I'm like, this could all go to shit, not out of
Mm.
fear, not out of fear, but of actual like faith in who I'm becoming. It could all go to complete shit. And because of how I'm developing, I know I'll have no problem rebuilding and doing so about 10 times, maybe 100 times faster. And I
Mm.
envision myself 3 to 5 years from now. And I feel like that's the most compelling thing to look at and see is your future self. And, you know, I see Elliot, and despite a lot of things I disagree with him on, I marvel at his level of development to who he's become and how fast his blow up has been. And if you look at everyone's curve of entrepreneurship, it looks like this, right? It's just slow, slow, slow for
Mm.
years, and then it just all of a sudden takes off. And I know I'm right down here, right? I'm right here. We're having a lot of success, but I know it's nothing. And I know the secret is who I'm becoming. And listen to this, Kate. Like business is built with people. I remember being in the room with Cardone, and Cardone is like, dude, look, the path to a million, the path to a billion, it's people. and you need bigger people. And what Cardone doesn't teach is, it's not just systems and results. Those are huge. Our company's focused on that. We're amazing at it. That's why we've attracted a lot of people. But what keeps people and what attracts higher level people is when you can create culture. And culture is created from leadership and people and who you become, right? And so me changing these character defects had no intent on affecting my business, but they've had direct impact on my business and on my
Have you
level.
met the Elliott team?
Yeah,
They're incredible. Are they
they
not?
are.
Like, they're not, uh, their online persona is like one part of them,
Yeah.
but they're so much more
They're
than
great
that.
people.
And actually very, very kind.
Yeah, they're
Very
very giving,
Yes.
very genuine, very
Oh my God,
animated.
that's insane.
Yeah,
And energy, talk about energy.
they got it.
They've got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say enough good things about them. I love that team so much.
That's the vision I have for my people is people walk in a room with a group of my people and say, holy shit, these people are different. The
Yeah.
energy's insane.
Right. They're different. Yeah.
Yeah, not just physically fit and jacked, but smart, but very genuine, very nice, friendly,
Yes.
confident, and have thriving relationships. And they're real, they're
Oh,
real,
yeah.
they're vulnerable. And that's so rare. It's so rare in today's world, Kate. And it's what I realize is by not being vulnerable and real with people, all we're doing is depriving ourselves of more fulfillment through relationships and happiness and authenticity. And if anything, what I'm telling people is like, by being that scary, like it's scary to go there, but everything in life gets better on the other side of that. Just be you,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah. It takes courage to do it, right? Because not everyone will like you, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it isn't, you're not supposed to be liked by everyone. I think maybe that's something you've struggled with, as did I, growing up in a family that looked perfect. So you kind of just are, you're seeking that gold star. Like, well, because that's the life is like you followed this path and then good job. Like, but it wasn't fulfilling.
Exactly. Yeah. Tony says like you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have fulfillment, you don't have your health, you don't have, purpose, you're going to be broke.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So, okay, when is that going to be? January. You should come to Vegas in January. Well, there's a lot of updates I need to update you on, but some of the Elliott team are going to be here, and we're going to do some podcasts. So you should come and do some too.
The little sales day.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, okay, wait. No, I got to ask you. We'll cut this part out.
We should do a little sales seminar.
I was just going to say, okay, so updates with me. I'm still with Pineda, but only 1 day a week. Or not 1 day, 1 hour a week. I do the wealthy creator call, but we don't sell creator anymore. So I started my own business, Create with Kate, which I'm loving. And then I'm doing this collaboration with a guy here in town that has a media company and a real estate brokerage. And he has an entire event space with, like, this will be so perfect for you. So there's 120 chairs. There's a gym in the same facility. So there's gym, event space, stage, 2 podcast studios. You could do a whole event in there.
Oh, we can. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the goal? Recruit salespeople? Like, tell me the focus now with the business.
With the business, it's, plugging people in. Yeah. So we stopped doing the coaching, not because I love it. It's the most fulfilling thing. It's my future. And it's, Chris taught me, there's 4 answers to every question. There's yes, and then there's no. And then there's yes, but not now. And then there's yes, but delegate.
Okay.
Excel is a yes, but not now. And so I'm going to be the guy that scales the company to 100 million and beyond, and then brings that story. And here's how we did it. There's a lot of hypocrites in our space where, sorry, I shouldn't say hypocrite. They have a, that was a blunt way of saying it, but they haven't been to the level where they coach. They coach reps. They've been there. They've crushed it. They've done teams. They've crushed it. But then have built a company, where I go to these mastermind groups and I'm like, like, Nick, you should join our mastermind. I'm like, dude, I'm all for it. I'm the guy that will spend tons of money. Like I spent $250,000 last year on masterminds. But I'm not going to go to somebody that hasn't been where I want to go,
Right,
right?
sure.
And
Yeah.
so there's a hole in the industry, and that's where we're building to. So yes, recruiting salespeople is one of the focuses with Sparta right now. But before you have that as a focus, you've got to have really good onboarding, training, culture, and system, which we've got. So
Okay.
that's why we're getting a lot of successes, because word of mouth.
Okay, so that, like, as far as your social media and your direction there, what are we gonna see more of from you?
So yeah, you'll still see me giving training. I think giving more trainings to people. Yeah, you'll still see me giving the talking heads content related to sales. But I think you're going to see more personal development related content
Oh, good.
from me as well. My TikTok audience has loved that. That's how it was built, and I haven't fed them enough. And so, yeah, I need to. I remember learning that you don't choose your audience; they choose you. And
Right.
so, yeah. So personal development, you'll still see me, you know, doing trainings. You'll still see me knocking doors. I still want to do that for a long time. Um, so, yeah.
Can you tell me some stories, or just think of one, and this could be one of your sales guys maybe that you hired, or maybe somebody that you knocked their door, uh, of where they really opened up to you.
Yeah. Like, yeah, would you want a salesperson or like one of my people, or would you want,
Which, just, I want you to tell me one that like really touched your heart and you were like, okay, I can feel now that by me working on me,
yeah.
now I've created this space for this individual to have growth,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even just myself.
Well, like people never want to listen to somebody that they can't relate to. And this goes for selling, this goes for anything. Like if you're not relatable, it's like one of the major levers of influence is being able to be like other people. And
Mhm.
and so by being vulnerable and authentic, and the form of this in selling would be by actually opening up about cons. And I'm one of the few salespeople trainers that talks about this principle of being transparent and
Mhm.
forthcoming and doing it fast. And it's a very persuasive thing, and it creates very good retention. But with one of my, yeah, I've had this with a lot of my guys. One of my top guys that did 41,000 his first week, it
Wow.
ignites more buy-in, and yeah, it's you know
Tell me
people.
about him. Can you tell me about this 41,000 kid?
Yeah,
Where'd
what do
you
you want to
find
know?
him? What's his story?
Through my network, and just
How old is he?
he Landon. Oh shit, I should know. He's about my age, about 30, 31, I believe.
What did he do before?
He was in sales, same industry. Yeah,
Okay, and he
solar.
was never he had never done 41,000 in a week before, I would
No,
imagine.
no, but he's done really well. I think he's done probably close to that. He's absolutely shattered records and done very good in pest control and solar. He may have done 41,000 in a week before, I don't know, but in solar, I don't think he had. And so it was like, they say the definition of luck is preparation meets opportunity. And um, there was a lot of preparation of when he came on for me moving things around to allow him to hit the ground running when he got here. So I always tell people coming into the business, I don't play fairly with my time and my capital and my people. I move things to the top.
Okay.
And the people who do perform less, they don't get more of my time. That's just how I operate. And I believe in that. And so people who
So
do
what did
perform
you
well,
see in Landon?
yeah, so there's a lot of people that are talk, and
There's a lot. Yeah.
there's a lot. So Landon part of it is setting clear expectations with each other and having transparency with each other. I was transparent with him from the start, and so it started on a foundation of trust, right? And so he had been screwed in the industry, so I was over transparent, and then I actually put some skin in the game on my end to show how committed I was to him. And so he saw
Wow.
massive buy-in from me, which it enticed massive buy-in from him. And then it's
Okay.
one thing to get somebody on and then bait and switch, right? And he was very proud saying that I did not do a bait and switch. We followed through. We kept going. and I kept focusing, prioritizing, his success, because if you feed the beast, you're going to keep growing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've created this system where results attract. It's, we yeah, we're absolutely laser focused. Instead of like pulling on more bodies, it's like, let's take the bodies we got and get them results
Make them even better.
financially. And yeah, and not just financially with sales, but with the skills and with their development, with their physical body, with their relationships, with their investments. Like, we hit on all this.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think it's important to have, like, it has to be well rounded.
yeah,
Uh, so, okay, so let me ask you this. Say people are out there listening and they're in sales and they're like, I like this guy's energy. Like, I want to work for him. Like, what, describe to me the individual. Like, if you're this, this, and this, then maybe we can talk. And if you're this, don't even bother.
yeah. So I actually have a 6-page document we created.
Okay.
We call it the Sparta Success Agreement,
Oh, I
and
love
it's basically saying, hey, look, through a lot of trial and error, uh, we have discovered why people fail, why people succeed at this, and so we create our core values around them. And so number one is sell yourself, conviction, and they spell it Sparta, okay? And that's being able to get behind something, not because you see our guys making tons of money, but because you believe in the blessing we're bringing to people, right?
that.
And if they can ignite that passion and get sold like what we wear on our shirts, then they will sell very well. And so the second is process over prize, very similar to progress over perfection. And it is focusing on the inputs over outputs. A lot of salespeople are like, how many sales am I getting? We focus on what are the inputs to get you those? And then, okay, and what inputs can we put into training? And we laser focus on that. And whether you get a sale or not, or a set appointment or not, there's still ways to backtrack to having a successful day. And so there's a term called the solar coaster. Our people don't ride the solar coaster because we know what we have to do, and we do it every single day, and we win. Right? So if you have a 20-sided dice and you roll, every time you hit one, you get a deal. Well, what's in your control? You can't force the dice to land on it, but you can control how many times you roll it, and you can
Yeah.
control getting a dice with less sides. That's training. So that's process over prize. We have our KPIs broken down of like, you have to hit this many numbers. So we try to expel entitlement. So if guys are like, well, I'm too good, then say, well,
Yeah.
we're probably not your fit, and then you have attract, don't chase. That's becoming more, and through self-education, through understanding your industry, and if you want more value, you want to make more money, you have to become more valuable. And so that means training. And so that's our attract, don't chase is like, we don't like actively hunt tons of people, but people are coming to the business because we get results. We're attracting that, right?
Sure.
And then you have report out. We have a culture of, high level communication. We've realized in solar how essential, in any business, communication is everything, right? And so there's very fluid communication from every level of the business, top to bottom. And we take pride in that. And we create this culture of report out where people report up, right? It's very militaristic. And there's no ego. I even report up, right, as head of the company. And so, and it's daily accountability. Like, here's what I'm going to do. Here's
Yes.
what I did. Okay. I used to have people pay us $5,000 a month, and this, just having them do that every day, like, moved the needle in their business. And so, in reporting. And so we've created that system for free in our company. And then finally, the last two, you have transparency, which is integrity. And that's at every level of selling and with the business. And we're transparent with everything that we do, with our intentions. And it's something we're very passionate about. And then finally, you have all in. So this is probably one of the biggest themes of like, Nick, well, I'm going to do this job and this job. We fully believe in like what Napoleon Hill teaches about burn the boats.
Yeah. Me too.
No plan B. We see exponentially more success when people go all in. And I was doing coaching of $20,000 a month and solar at $20,000 a month. I stopped the coaching and I did $200,000 a month net commissions in solar, and that attracts more people. And so when being good at multiple things, or doing multiple gigs, is chasing too many rabbits, is usually a lot of people's main source of failure. I feel like in today's world, there's so many opportunities, and they're just scatterbrained, chasing opportunities, hopping companies.
I agree. And as I've like kind of started on my entrepreneurial path, being on my own, that's one thing I've noticed, because people started to see I'm going out on my own. So then opportunities were just like coming at me, right? Oh, I want you to do this with me. Oh, I want you to do that. And I'm like, and at first I was like, oh, yeah, we could talk about it, right? And then I had to
Yeah,
pause, and I'm like, wait a minute. No, what am I doing? Like, I have to stick to my mission of create with Kate. Like, if
beautiful.
I try to, like, yeah, I could help you. I am capable, but is that what I should be doing? No, I should be staying focused. But I think, so I could see how that would be a problem for people,
Yeah.
and it would sneak up on you without
Mhm.
maybe you even realizing it.
Warren Buffett said the difference between successful people and really successful people is really successful people say no to almost everything.
Mm.
And so you'll see a lot of people that are just yes people pleasers, especially salespeople. I used to be in that group, and so we've created a core value around that, you know. And
I think that's the worst thing you could do is sell something in the wrong way, setting the wrong expectation just to get the sale.
absolutely,
Because then you've just, I mean, I think that's just so damaging. Like, okay, maybe you got money initially, but then what happens now? That person's going to go tell all these people
yeah,
that they were sold something that they didn't get.
yeah, exactly, yep,
So I don't, that's such a short term mindset, I think.
it is. Yeah, I've had so many deals, Kate, where I have walked out where I'm like, I could have sold
Mhm.
them, but I chose not to. And in
Well, you
solar,
said that to me
yeah,
one time when we were first meeting and having
yeah,
our strategy calls. You said it's not something to the effect of like, you don't sell everyone.
yeah.
Sometimes it's not the right fit for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is what people need more of. And so this is what I'm proud to bring to the industry is that. And from a person who's at the 0.01%, you know, of performance at that. And so now I'm taking the performance and duplicating it to say like, hey, look, yes, everyone said, oh, Nick, you're just a phenom. This is what's kind of lit a fire in my ass, Kay, is, oh, it's you, it's Nick Nascimento. Like, of course you're going to sell well, of course, of course, of course, of course, right? And so I'm like, okay, bet. Like, let me show you. This works for anybody. My people are crushing. Like,
Hmm.
we're dominating in Utah. And so the
Yeah.
principles I'm teaching are working, and you sleep better at night, right? And so, but it's cool because like you could take a non, like, ethical approach, like just like purely stats and business related, and I
Yes.
can teach you how selling with empathy and love and actually doing what's best in the client will actually make you more money.
That has
So
always been my belief. And
yeah,
I mean, I honestly fight this a lot in, well, in this industry, and I'm surrounded by a lot of men, and most men do not have that approach. You're unique in this regard, because most of them have more of a short term mindset
yeah,
when it comes to sales.
yeah, and a lot of things in life I've learned honestly,
Hmm.
like yeah, you know, Tony always says, what we what we what we can do we often overestimate how much we can do in a year, but we drastically underestimate how much we can do in 5 to 10 years. People just are they're short term thinkers, you know, and
Yeah. Um, Before I forget, I want to ask you this, not to totally shift. You have three sons.
yes,
Three.
yeah.
As a dad, what, I guess, like, if you could only have one message left for them, what would you want to say to them as their dad? Like, this is the only message they can see for the rest of their life. Like, what's the best advice you could give to your sons?
The first thing that comes to mind is no matter what you do, you are always loved and you're always enough.
Hmm.
You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. Um, yeah, that would be one of the biggest messages, because if people can find that again, that fulfillment internally, um, people are called to do great things one way or another, right? But if you are pursuing from abundance rather than scarcity, you will be fulfilled and you will achieve much more. And so just, telling them like you can't earn it, like for Christian people, it's like
Yeah.
the grace of the Savior Jesus, like there's nothing you can do to earn it. It's God's gift, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of that thought, Kate, is it puts you in that gratitude sense, and that's the beginning, that's the beginnings of the accumulation of wealth.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like when I said to God, well, when I surrendered and just was like, okay, I'm not going to try to control anything anymore. Um, and you just use me basically how you want to use me, because yeah, when you're good at many things, I think it's easy to get lost
Yeah.
and to keep chasing. And and then I was just like, I don't know. I'm going to give it to you. Like, and and then yeah, now it's crazy the moments and the connections that I have with people. I know it's God because there's just no other explanation.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That is, Kate. I love that. I love seeing
And
what you're doing.
thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing to well, I love what I do, and it's like this is my calling. And the only way I found it was by surrendering. Because all the other, I mean, I'm 37 now. All these other years of my life, that I was like, okay, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And I think that was all necessary, obviously, to get me here. But I think if you just surrender sooner, you'll find the answer too. I think
Yeah,
faith is really um, the answer. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's very spiritual.
it
I
is.
think the best entrepreneurs have faith.
Yeah. Tony talks about it. He says business is a spiritual game because
Hmm.
it's about like whether you're Christian or not, if, like the secret to business is giving. Like it's the more you give, the more you get. That's contribution.
Hmm.
And that's outside of oneself. And that's a spiritual thing. And the more in line you find with that, like, okay, stop thinking about how you can make more, how can you serve more? And then the other question will come. You don't even have
Right.
to think
You
about
know,
it.
think about it.
Yeah. And so this is
Hmm.
what drives me nuts with, on sales trainers teaching you how to overcome objections. It's the
Okay, yeah,
how.
let's talk about that.
It's the how. Like if your why is big enough, you'll figure a way how. Like that was the story of my sales journey is I came out swinging, dominating in my industry. And people were baffled. They're like, it's his area. He's lucky. It's his charisma. And they had me convinced on these things. I thought it was my area too. I was like, I can't leave this little area in California. And what it really was, and it wasn't sales training. It was the hunger. Like Tony said, it's hunger over
It was your
everything.
energy.
It's your energy. That the energy is transmuted from hunger and from a bigger purpose, a bigger why, and it comes from selflessness. And so when you desire to serve people, and you understand how your product is blessing them, you communicate with authority. And this is a thing for a lot of entrepreneurs, and I see a lot of female entrepreneurs struggle with this, Kate, where they feel guilt. They're like, I can never, they limit themselves by saying, I could never do sales. And this is one thing I want to change with a lot of women and men. I can never do sales. Like, because what are the,
Everything in sales.
everything is sales, yes. But from their perspective, it's like, well, I'm not a pushy person, or oh, I can't lie to people. Think about what they're saying, like process that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. It's off. Well, that's the reputation of salespeople, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't have to be like that.
Correct. And so what we're proving is that the best salespeople are the most genuine, empathetic. I'm still writing my book right now, and one of the chapters is like the superhuman selling. And I talk about momentum, I talk about empathy. And empathy is like this it factor of persuasion. And it could be related to laws of influence of likability, but it's likability to the next level that, even these guys don't talk about. And so yeah, selling is a spiritual game. Business is a spiritual game. The more connected you are to, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be even like higher power, God, whatever you want to call it for you, just something greater than yourself. And for some people that don't believe in God or higher power, it's just the universe, but something greater than them, serving people. We can all agree that we can give value, find fulfillment in doing that. And in so doing, when you make that your focus, you become very good, right? As long as you stay focused on and say no to a lot of things, stay focused and don't try to just become a jack of all trades. That will make you average very fast. But
Right.
having specialized knowledge with massive action behind it. And again, massive purpose is what drives massive action.
Why do you think people struggle with empathy?
Because of a selfish perspective of that, they're thinking of what they're getting from it. And so you have to detach yourself, before I go into any deal, I'm thinking, this is not about me, this is about this person, and I've got to detach. Okay, if I run into this situation, I walk away. And doing so allows you to communicate authentically and with authority. It allows you to ask the better questions, right? And people feel that energy. And we describe it as being genuine or caring or empathetic, and that's how you describe it. It's not just an innate thing. Just like anything, it's a skill. It's practiced, and it's through repetition. And if you suck at showing empathy from people, you can become very good. It starts by just changing your focus, right? And start seeing the good in people. And an example of this in solar, like, we make around $6,000 to $8,000. Let's just say it's $7,000 per deal, right? When I sold 256,000 worth of deals and I made 200,000 after cancellations and what got installed in a month time frame, I was tracking the net worth change for my clients. So Napoleon Hill talks about this too in Think and Grow Rich, where identify your target. It's like step number one, and number two is identify the value you're going to bring people to acquire that financial target. So if I want to make $200,000, for me, I had to save people $2 million.
Wow, that's good.
Do
Okay.
you see the shift in focus
Well,
from
it's a
selfish?
win-win. It's
What's that?
win-win. It's not
It's
just
win-win, yeah. So when people tell me, like, are you trying to sell me? I'm like, hell yes. Like,
yeah,
absolutely. Because if I don't, you're kind of in trouble. I mean, tell me otherwise, right?
yeah.
That's the conviction. Now, sometimes I do allow them to sell me. Okay, it's
hmm
okay to be sold as a salesperson, and then
Yeah.
to walk away. Because you walk away, you guard that conviction. So when you do run into the good, bright prospect who is a fit, you can tell them with confidence, I don't tell everyone this, but
Right.
this is going to be a game changer for you,
hmm
right? And
Yeah,
it hits different. It hits different when you can communicate from being real.
totally. I was just having this thought about your brand of like, so it's like be sold. It's be sold, right?
Yeah. So just sold. Yeah.
Oh, just sold.
Sold. Yeah.
Okay. But I was just thinking like, I don't know why I'm getting this vision, but like the word soul in sold, because it's like you have to have a soul connection. That's what
Oh, I
you
like
have.
that.
And that's
I
why
like that.
you are next level, because it's like bigger than you.
I like that, Kate.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I just got like a download. I'm like, wow. Okay. And I mean, it's even in the word solar.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Like it.
soul.
Yeah.
Um, oh my
That's
gosh.
fun.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Have you read the book Outwitting the Devil?
Yes, I love that book. He talks about, your higher, being connected with your higher self, and like that's talk about spiritual. Like Napoleon Hill studied the greatest business people of all time in history, and the most successful personal development book of all time. And he's basically like telling you, like, hey, these men and women have been directed by a higher self, by the higher power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, are you connected to that or are you not, right? And if you are, you're going to be directed to make better decisions. So,
Well, and I
anyways, yes.
feel like this is like where you're at, right? Is like
Yeah.
outwitting the devil. It's like as you rise, it's gonna try to take you down, and that's
Yeah.
what happened to you this year.
Yeah.
But you're, you know, it's not happening, right? Because of you and your uh, faith and conviction and your mission. And
Yeah.
so I think it's really cool. Are you
Well, I
going to
think
be on? Are you going to be on podcasts, more podcasts this year, or no?
yeah, no, I need to. I've been grinding a lot, and I need to get out there more. So
I have like 10 people in my mind right now that you
let's
need to
do it.
podcast with.
Let's go.
You did the
Let's go.
sales girls, right? They were raving
I
about you.
did. They were amazing. I rave about them. Such great women.
They're, oh, such good people. Talk about giving.
Uh-huh.
You need to, I want you doing something with Myron Golden too.
Okay. Yeah.
He's so good. I love
Okay.
him. Yeah, there's just so many people. So I'll just start sending you some names. And then if you do come to Vegas again, I'll try to coordinate them all for you. You
I
could
love that,
film
Kate.
in the studio.
Yeah.
Um,
Different
and
studio
then,
or same
yeah.
place? You get at the
No,
Bennett office?
different place.
Cool.
Different.
Love it.
So, yeah, they have a full media team.
Okay.
So it's perfect because it's just everything that we don't have, that we don't offer anymore. I mean, we used to, but so it's great for me because I can finally like offer my clients what they need that I don't do.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna collaborate a little bit there. Plus, you'll really like the guy that owns the place. You guys are very aligned.
Let's go.
So
I love it. And then January sounds
Okay.
like might do a little event.
yeah, like let's stay connected. Oh, and then you got to do a podcast with Justin too. I know you
Okay.
guys were talking for a while, but or at some point. And then there was someone else I was thinking of. Oh, the Elliott twins. They're
Yeah.
not Elliott's, but you know what I mean.
Macklin twins?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
You
I
should
freaking love those.
sure do a
Yeah, I love
podcast
that.
with them. They are fantastic. And then are you going to go to the Vault conference?
This year, yes, I will be going to the Vault conference.
You are. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's good. So they'll be there.
Good.
So yeah. No, that'll be good. Okay.
Let's go.
And well, we're going to have part 2 so I can ask you about some other stuff, but I don't want to keep too much of your time since we've already been going for an hour, but